Lesson 136. Being closer to heaven. Jesus replied, "The coming of the kingdom of God is not something that can be observed, nor will people say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is,' because the kingdom of God is in your midst." When the earth was first created, it was closer to heaven. In other words, it was heaven on earth. There was no suffering, or worries or pain. Everyone lived freely and didn't have to toil for their lives. The concept is very real currently if you really take your time to observe the way of life. It is true pain came into the world through the first man's disobedience and through him, death. But through one man's obedience, life came, and it is life to its fullest. The same way Adam and Eve was tempted by the devil, it is the same way Jesus was tempted when he fasted for 40 days and nights. But Jesus came out victorious because he was on the mission to save us out of our misery and death. This is the reason why Jesus is saying the kingdom of God is in your midst, and we do not need to look any further. We have eyes, but we do not see it, because you have been blinded by the sin of the world. Because there is so much trouble and suffering, you fail to see beyond it and simply give in to normality. But we are called to be righteous and extraordinary in this life. Even though we have so much trouble, the one who is in us is greater than anything in this world. Jesus was among the people of Israel at his time, and he was the kingdom of God. And whoever was with him and listened to him felt they were in the right place. And this is why the disciples replied to Jesus when he questioned them about leaving, "To whom shall we go? You have the words of life." John 6:68. When you receive Christ, you become one with him. You get the taste of the kingdom, meaning you become fulfilled with the goodness of Christ. And you will be able to see things differently from what the world sees and perceive things different as well. When the world sees injustice and terror, none of the things will move you. You will see the hope and the beauty of his kingdom according to his will. It all comes down to how much do you love the Lord your God. Just as the way God loved us unconditionally and through his Son, we have life everlasting. We ought to love God as well in the same manner. We must fulfill his mission here on earth by abiding by his instructions. Ignore the love of this world because God cannot be mixed up. It will only bring destruction in the end, no matter how little or how much you have on the knowledge of God. If you cannot commit and devote yourself to him, it will mean nothing. Make a stand for God so that he will make a stand for you. Having the slightest of doubt will be like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind with no specific direction. But the kingdom of God is something we seek and we put our focus into, not allowing our own desires to control our ways, but putting God first in everything you do. One of my favorite verses comes from 1 Corinthians 2, verse 9. "What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no mind has perceived, the things that God has prepared for those who love him." It is the verse of hope from God's promises. We have been lied to and cheated upon fake promises and empty hopes by even people we trust the most. There is so much you do not know about the goodness of God, and you give up because we do not get what we want. You are not patient enough to let God reveal himself in your life. We are quick to judge and to put blame on something when things go wrong. But every day God gives us a chance to renew our strength and hope in him. He wants us to keep believing that he will come through your situation no matter what. The closer you get to him, the closer he comes to you. It is a great joy to achieve that peace in your heart. No matter what happens, you make that decision to be at peace with everyone and everything that happens around you. This will be your heaven on earth for you, fearing nothing but content in everything. This is how Jesus lived his whole life. Though he had nothing of material, he wasn't bothered with what the world feared. Make every effort to store up your treasures in heaven, meaning focus on the things above and not the things below, because where your treasure is where your heart will be also.